Now at 6, President Trump threatened massive deportation raids, but locally they didn't materialize. ICE wasn't out in action, but the protesters were.
No race, no deportation of fascist USA.
Law enforcement here in Portland refused to cooperate with federal immigration agents. New York City plunged into darkness. Part of Manhattan goes dark for 5 hours during a blackout. This morning, the cause remains a mystery. Plus, the worst is over for New Orleans in the wake of Tropical Depression Barry.
We absolutely made it through the storm.
This morning, the Gulf Coast is taking stock of the damage as the storm pushes north. And let the shopping begin. Amazon's Prime Day sale is underway, but there are some items you may want to avoid. KGW News at Sunrise starts right now.
May we start with this live look from the coast? Look at that.
Wet.
I actually woke up this morning thinking, man, I'm a little foggy because it's Monday. If you're down there in Pacific City, it's a lot foggy. That's unbelievable. But we do say good morning to our faithful viewers on the coast.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are some faithful surfers about to check out the waves out there on that stormy coast. It was a beautiful weekend. We hope you got out and enjoyed it because, yeah, the rain showers kind of coming back for certain areas today.
Yeah, we got a definite shift in the forecast, and that is more clouds in our forecast for today, as well as the precipitation. So here is a look from our Rose City sky camera. You can see the clouds overhead. We are starting to see some sprinkles just to the north of the city. And here's basically how your day is looking. So we're going to see cool and showery weather to start. 71 by noon with some scattered showers out there. 74 likely our high for today, with still a chance for a shower out there this evening. And this is why we do have, you can see a system moving in, bringing us those scattered showers, not just today, but we'll continue to see some of those scattered showers through the first half of the week. That is a quick look at your weather. Let's check in with Chris now and look at traffic.
And I want to go to the east side. Big traffic alert right now in Clackamas County. I-205 northbound. I'll step out of the way here, and you can see only one lane getting by here. This is near the Highway 212 overpass. This is Highway 212. This is I-205. I'm going to show you the backup right now that extends past Gladstone towards Oregon City. 205 north, a mess right now. A crash that's got 2 lanes blocked. Possibly some serious injuries with this one, guys. We're working to get more details on this, and as soon as I have them, I will bring them to you as soon as we can, guys.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Right now, police are on the scene of this crash in Gresham that seriously injured a woman. You see the white car there? Police say it was speeding on Northeast Wilkes Road and crashed into a semi-trailer at 181st. The woman was one of several people in the car. Officers are looking for 2 others who left the scene and may also be injured. So if you commute through here, these are the streets surrounding the crash that will be closed during the investigation. The area we're talking about is highlighted in red on this map. The closure runs from 181st and Wilkes to 185th.
All right, there was big pushback in Portland and across the country this morning to President Trump's promise that there would be ICE raids on 2,000 undocumented immigrants starting yesterday. This morning, it's not quite clear how much of that pledge the president has actually made good on.
Yeah, Christine Pitawanich is live with us this morning here in the studio. So, Christine, right now, things seem to be pretty quiet.
Good morning, Drew, Nina. Yeah, so far the raids across the U.S. seem to be quieter and smaller than what was initially anticipated, but it is still a waiting game, with President Trump implying that the raids could continue over the next few days or weeks. While Portland was not a known target for the nationwide raids Sunday, a spokesperson with the regional ICE office tells us the department will not give specific details on enforcement operations, saying in part, quote, "As always, ICE prioritizes the arrest and removal of unlawfully present aliens who pose a threat to national security, public safety, and border security." It was on Friday that President Trump said the government has an obligation to legally carry out deportation enforcement raids. He pledged to target 10 major cities, including LA, Houston, and New York. We spoke with a member of Occupy ICE, a group against the raids, the president's border policy, and the separation of immigrant families.
But it's absolutely necessary we retain our humanity in these times. We have to look at the faces of the children who are dying in detention centers. We have to look at the images of these cages, the Mylar blankets, the 400 standing room only adults behind a fence.
In a statement, Portland police gave reassurance that the Bureau does not enforce federal immigration laws. Chief Danielle Outlaw said, quote, "Now more than ever, it is important to understand and recognize the uncertainty and fear for many in our immigrant communities, not just around immigration enforcement efforts, but also hate crimes." And it's also worth mentioning that while the president wants to round up 2,000 immigrants in the ICE raids, back in 2012, under the Obama administration, there were more than 1,000 ICE arrests across the country. Back to you.
Thanks, Christine. Police believe they have found the remains of a TV and movie actor who disappeared from his home in Southern Oregon last week. The Grants Pass Department of Public Safety says it found human remains in a rural area near Selma. Authorities believe they belong to 70-year-old Charles Levin. He appeared in sitcoms in the 80s and 90s, including Seinfeld, Night Court, and Doogie Howser, MD. Police also say they found Levin's car with the body of his dog inside. He was reported missing a week ago by his son, who hadn't heard from him in several days. Investigators are now waiting for a medical examiner to make a positive ID.
Portland police are still looking for a man they say was armed with a gun when he ran away from a traffic stop. It happened in the Lentz neighborhood of Southeast Portland around 7 o'clock Saturday night. Police and CERT teams flooded that area for hours. They shut down streets and ordered people to go indoors. Now, they don't know exactly who he is, but police describe the suspect as a black man who's about 6 feet tall and weighs 150 pounds. He was last seen wearing light blue jeans and red shoes, so if you have any information, you're asked to call police.
Later this morning, Governor Kate Brown will sign a bill requiring school districts in Oregon to teach students about the Holocaust. The state legislature passed the bill this session. It'll go into effect during the 2020-21 school year. Today's signing will happen at the Oregon Jewish Museum. Holocaust survivors and their families are expected to attend.
Well, the lights are back on in New York City this morning after a massive power outage over the weekend. The blackout lasted 5 hours, plunging iconic buildings like Radio City Music Hall into darkness. Broadway shows and concerts were canceled, but the real issue was all the people stuck on subway trains and inside stalled elevators.
Our heroes!
The New York Fire Department broke through a brick wall because we weren't near a floor to get us out, and we're so relieved.
That man says he was stuck for 4 hours with 6 other people before firefighters got them out. Luckily, no one was injured during the blackout. City officials say they're still investigating what caused it, but they say it was not a cyber attack or an act of terrorism.
Now to more national headlines in your morning rush. And financier Jeffrey Epstein faces a bail hearing today for allegedly sex trafficking underage girls. Epstein's lawyers have recommended a bail package of $77 million. They've also proposed he be allowed to remain under house arrest. Prosecutors argue Epstein is a major flight risk and want him to remain in jail without bond. He's pleaded not guilty. The search is on for a missing woman in a bizarre story in California. So on Friday, 60-year-old Cheryl Powell and her dog vanished from a remote campground on the California-Nevada border. The woman's husband says she took their dog for a walk when he left for a few minutes to reposition their car. The husband says he searched for an hour before calling police. France celebrated Bastille Day in Paris yesterday, and look at this, a soldier flew over the parade on a hoverboard. The whole spectacle drew cheers from the crowd as the French president and other dignitaries watched. Very cool. Novak Djokovic has won his 5th Wimbledon title. He beat 8-time champion Roger Federer in an epic 5th set tiebreaker. That tiebreaker was the first in any men's final at the 4 Grand Slams. On the women's side, Simona Halep defeated Serena Williams in straight sets, making her the first Romanian to win a Wimbledon singles title. And that's your morning rush.
All right, the big national weather story we followed over the weekend was Tropical Storm Barry. It's now a tropical depression. The storm made landfall in Louisiana over the weekend, and while the coast there didn't get hit as hard as anticipated, the threat of major flooding still looms across that region. NBC's Dan Sheneman has the latest.
Barry has been downgraded, but is still dangerous.
Much of the southern portion of the state is still experiencing heavy rainfall. and that could lead to flash flooding.
Up to 6 inches of rain possible in some areas. In Baton Rouge, roads are flooded and creeks are overflowing.
The forecast has rain again all the way up the lower Mississippi Valley. That rain will get into the valley and come back down to Louisiana, so we want to make sure that we watch the water levels.
The coast of Louisiana felt Barry's full force. The storm surge engulfed some neighborhoods, while in Alabama, major roads were consumed by water as workers now struggle to restore power to tens of thousands left in the dark. In the Big Easy, there is a sigh of relief.
We absolutely made it through the storm. Beyond lucky, we were spared.
The floodgates in New Orleans are open again, and the port is open for business. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.